Okay, so this is how you're going to do your assignment. So this is going to solve systems by equations by graphing. And there's one way where you're going to have one solution, so that's where your two lines intersect. There's no solutions because your two lines are parallel, or there's going to be infinitely many because the lines are on top of the line. So we're going to go through and we're going to do example one, or equation. We're going to do example one, and you've got two equations. So you have negative x plus 8. So it's already in y-intercept. So then my y-intercept on question one, on equation one, my y-intercept is 8. And then my slope ends up being negative 1. So remember that there's a negative 1 in front of that x. Oops, sorry, you can't see. Sorry. So remember your y-intercept is 8, and then there's a negative 1 in front of that x. So this rise means that you're going to go down 1, and then your run means that you're going to move to the right 1. So down 1 to the right 1. So we start on our x-intercept at 8, and I counted these by 2. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8. There's my y-intercept. I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1. And then you just keep going. And what I'm going to do is I just use a straight edge, and then I connect my points. And you can keep following that little pattern, but that's your straight edge. So that's for equation 1. And again, equation 2 it's in y-intercept form. So now we're going to do the same thing. My y-intercept is negative 4. Whoops, I meant to put intercept. Is negative 4. And then my slope is 2. So my rise is going to be 2. And then my run, and it's positive 2. So that means I'm going to go up. And my run, I just make that into a fraction. So that means I move to the right 1. So I'm going to graph on my y-intercept at negative 4. And then I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, and to the right 1. Up 2 to the right 1. Up 2 to the right 1. Again. And then we're going to connect your line. So you're going to connect this, and now you're going to find that solution point. So the solution point, the solution on this one is going to be right here, and I look, so we're at 4 and 4. So that solution is 4, 4. That's when x is 4 and y is 4. And that's your solution point when x is 4 and y is 4. So on the back side, we have another one. And this will be example 2. So again, we're just going to graph both of our equations. And this one is in y-intercept. So again, we have y-intercept is equal to 1. And your slope, same thing. That's a negative 1. So your slope is negative 1. So that means down 1. And then I'm going to make it a fraction and to the right 1. So I'm going to graph my y-intercept at 1, down 1 to the right 1, down 1 to the right 1. So, and then you keep going, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use my straight edge, and I'm going to connect my dots. All right, so now the next thing is you've got this, and you got this equation right here. So if I can use method 1 or method 2 of going through and graphing, and if I use my, and if I look and if I plug 0 in right here for y, I'm just going to cover that y up. So if I plug 0 in, I end up getting 3x equals 2. Well, when I divide by 3 to solve for that, or equals negative 2, no, it equals 2. When I divide by 3 to solve for that, I'm going to get some fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and convert to y-intercept form because it's going to be a little bit harder. I don't get pretty numbers. And so sometimes I go, which one's going to be easier? That one didn't give me pretty numbers because I'd have to go 2 divided by 3. And I don't like those fractions. So I'm going to subtract 3x. And I'm going to subtract 3x. So that goes away. and I get y is equal to 2 minus 3x. So y-intercept is 2, and then my slope is negative 3. So that means I'm going to go down 3 and to the right 2. So my y-intercept is at 2, and then I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and to the right 2. 1, 2, 3, and to the right 2. So if I look, and I have those little points, and I draw my line again, I have this intersection, so that's my solution right there. So my solution, that solution point is over 2 and down 1. So it's 2 and negative 1. That's my solution point. So my solution is to the right 2, down 1. That's my point. That's x, that's y. X and y. Whoops, couldn't see that. But x and y, that's where that point of intersection meets. Okay, now we're going to do this, and we're going to do our next one. And you're going to have to back both equations, and then this time they're both in standard form. So when they're both in standard form, and again, like I said, maybe the y-intercepts will be easy, because if I cover up that 3x, my y-intercept is 3. So notice I'm going to make this bigger so you can actually see. So on that first equation here, if I cover up 3x, because 3 times 0 is 0, so my y-intercept would be 3. I cover up x, 3x equals 3. So that would be simple. So I'm going to find the way that's going to work easiest for me. So I'm going to use x and y intercepts. It doesn't always work, but I'm going to on this one because it works out pretty good. So I'm going to find y-intercept, remember, I'm going to let x equal 0. So I'm going to find that y-intercept. So I have 3 times 0 plus y equals 3. 3 times 0 is nothing, so y-intercept is 3. So now I've got this 0, 3. So that's my y-intercept is at 0, 3. I'm going to move this up so we can see. And then the next one is going to be, we're going to need to find my x-intercept. So in order to find your x-intercept, the y is going to be 3. So 3x, so y is equal to 0. And I need to solve for x in order to find my x-intercept. So 3x plus 0, because y is 0, equals 3. So this is nothing, so 3x equals 3. And then we divide by 3, because that cancels us out. So x is equal to negative, or positive 1. I don't know why I said negative, positive 1. So we get positive 1, and then I have 1, 0. So I'm going to graph these points, 0, 3. So we're going to go over here and graph. I'm going to start at 0, and then I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. And then I'm at 1. Again, I'm at 1. So here I'm at 1, 0. So go over 1, up none. And then I just use my straight edge, and I graph that point. I graph that. So that's this one. So now we've got line 2. And on line 2, let's look at this. So if I do line 2, if I do x and y intercepts, because 6 will go into 9, and that's not x and y intercepts. So if I cover up this, but 9 divided by 6, and that's no good. Okay? On that one, it's no good because they're going to be like, I can't tell, that I'm going to get some negative numbers, I'm going to get some weird numbers, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to solve for y. And you can do the decimals, but they're not always the easiest, so I just don't do them. So I have 6x plus 3y equals 9. So I'm going to subtract 6x on both sides. So that cancels out. And I get 3y equals 9 minus 6x. Again, 9 doesn't have an x, so I can't combine them. So we just rewrite that. Now I'm going to go through and we're going to solve for y. So I have to divide by 3, divide by 3. And remember when I divide by 3, it's 9 divided by 3, and then 6 divided by 3, and then x. So 9 divided by 3 ends up being 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, and then this would be negative. So that would be my equation. So I'm going to go to my y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, and then my y-intercept is 3, and then my slope, in this case, is negative 2 over 1. So that means I'm going to go down 2 and to the right 1. So I start with 3, and I go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1. So if I'm looking, this one isn't going to be as nice and pretty, but I already have that my y-intercept, so that solution point is right there where my lines, this is my solution. It's where they're going to intersect. So this is 0, 3. That's my intersection point. Now remember, if lines are going to be parallel, so we go back over here. If they're going to be parallel, this means that they're going to have the same slope. So don't forget that you're going to have the same slope when they're parallel. This one, if they're perpendicular, one solution, this just means that they're going to intersect. This one is the same exact line. So you just solve this on that one. So if you went back through, so this equation right here, 2y equals 2x minus 2. If I go through and I divide by 2, so y is equal to, that cancels, 2x over 2 minus 2 over 2. 2 divided by 2 ends up being 1x, and then 2 divided by 2 is 1. So notice this is really the same thing. So that's why that would be the same exact line. It's just written a little differently. It's like, when you come to school and you actually come to school versus when you go to a fancy dance, you're just going to be dressed up a little bit. So that second equation there, it's the same equation, it's just dressed up a little bit different. All right, good luck on your assignment, and don't forget to turn things in on time so I can give you feedback.